Have you told your friends that you see ghosts?
Oh, absolutely not.
Gina Rodriguez returns in Not Dead Yet.
I'm back, baby.
Who is that?
Oh, she's the obituary writer.
And Brad Garrett joins the brilliant ensemble cast.
Titan, Maverick, Titan of all Mavericks. These are all words used to describe me.
Not Dead Yet. Season premiere. Tonight, 8:30, 7:30 Central on ABC. And stream on Hulu.
It's the Happy Families podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
Well, it's Friday, and every Friday on the Happy Families podcast, we dive into an episode that we call I'll Do Better Tomorrow. This is the bit where we reflect on the week that was. We talk about what worked in our parenting and what didn't, because we want to be better parents. Before we dive in with Kylie sharing something, our executive producer, Craig Bruce, sent something through that really caught me. I think in light of all of the emotional challenges that we've had as we've gone through the farewelling of our nephew Logan over the last little while, this one just, it caught my attention, and I thought it might be nice to kick off the podcast with this. This is the author, William Martin, on the wonders of ordinary life. And it's funny when you lose someone or something that matters a great deal to you, how easy it is, hopefully, to find wonder in the ordinary again. He said this, and I quote, "Do not ask your children to strive for extraordinary lives. Such striving may seem admirable, but it's the way of foolishness. Help them instead to find the wonder and the marvel of an ordinary life. Show them the joy of tasting tomatoes, apples, and pears. Show them how to cry when pets and people die. Show them the infinite pleasure in the touch of a hand, and make the ordinary come alive for them. The extraordinary will take care of itself." Kylie, I'll Do Better Tomorrow. It's over to you. I have no idea what you're going to share, but I'm curious to know what you've learned about parenting, what your insights have been for how we can be better parents this week.
Well, it's no secret the last few weeks have been extremely challenging in our house, and there has been zero routine or any kind of normality to the way we're doing life right now.
No, not really functional, I think would be how I'd say it.
We've had beautiful friends bring us meals and take care of us in just such personal ways, and I've been so grateful for that. But a couple of days ago, it was just me and Emily at home, Miss Nine, and the house was in an uproar. It was turned upside down. We've had some work done out in the yard, and the dust from that has just come through the house like a tornado. And everything was just feeling hard. And so I asked her whether or not she would help me get some cleaning done. And she was not impressed. So she stormed off because she wanted to watch the TV. Anyway, a few minutes later, I said, "Emily, I'm really missing you. I'd love some help." She said, "Well, I'd like to watch the TV. We don't always get what we want."
Did she say that?
She did.
That is so cheeky.
And I said, "You are right. We don't always get what we want."
And you're not going to get to watch the TV.
So I just kept working slowly by myself. And then about 5 minutes later, I said, "Emily," I said, "I'm missing you." I said, "Would you like to come and help me?" And I heard some grumbling down from the other end of the house. And so I left it and I just kept working. And then about 5 minutes later, I said, "Emily, would you like to unpack the dishwasher?" And I don't know what it is about the dishwasher. And I don't think she's ever responded this way before. But she said, "Sure thing, Mum." And she came racing down the corridor and started unpacking the dishwasher. And we talked a little bit about just as we were working together, we talked side by side. And sometimes we get so caught up on the fact that we need them to be compliant in the moment. And like I said, our house is not functioning the way it usually would. And there are moments where we feel like everything's fine. And then there are moments where we just kind of crumble in a heap and are really, really struggling with our own emotions. And I can't imagine what it is like for our kids, not only to be experiencing their own emotions, but then to watch the big people in their world, the people that make them feel safe and secure, not dealing with it really well. And so in spite of the fact that it was a little bit frustrating that she wasn't compliant in the first moment, I love that with just a little bit of time and a little bit of patience and a little bit of kindness and compassion to her situation that I was able to facilitate her ability to step into the moment and help. And the change that had in our home in that little moment was just really beautiful. So my I'll do better tomorrow is just an acknowledgement that as parents, we want things done right now. We kind of see a need, we see something that he's doing, and we expect that our kids are going to be compliant in the moment. And you talk a lot about this idea of force creates resistance. When our kids feel like they don't have a choice, they're less likely to want to help. But all of us want to connect. And each time I made a bid for connection with Emily, I got a little bit closer to her being desirous of that. And in that next moment, there was just this beautiful connection, which I'm so grateful for.
Love that you shared that. Something that I wrote about a lot in the Parenting Revolution is how when we invite our children's involvement, but we give them the opportunity to be self-determining and to step into that involvement when they're ready for it, we get much better outcomes. I remember stepping into the kitchen and seeing her involved with you, and she was so happy to be involved. It really stood out to me that when children are choosing, or now knowing the broader context, when children choose involvement, it works so much better than when we have to force involvement.
I'm interested to know what you have to share today.
So I'm going to share a couple of things because when you go through really difficult times, I think you learn a lot. The first thing that I want to share is just a quick anecdote, a quick story. It's just over a week old now, but while we were in Gosford on the New South Wales Central Coast, the funeral for Logan was held on Friday. We had a day of nothing on Saturday, and then on Sunday morning it was the paddle out at Terrigal Haven with about 250 people. But on that Saturday I decided that I was going to go for a surf. I caught up with some friends because that's where I grew up, and I went surfing and just had a great time. Caught some wonderful waves and tested out my neck and back now that I'm sort of getting active again after my neck break and my back break a couple of months ago. And it felt really good. I had that surf, but what I really wanted to do was take the kids to the beach and help them to catch some waves. So around about mid-morning, around about 9 o'clock, we grabbed the kids, we put them in the car, called my brother and my parents, and just told everybody, head down to Avoca. We're going to go down to the pine trees. There's some little waves there. I think if we take the kids out on the surfboards, we can have a really great time. When we got there, I had my favorite board, which is a board that I've had for a couple of years now. And I also had a brand new board that we bought on the way through Coffs Harbour. We stopped in at Cooper's Surf Store on the way through Coffs Harbour, and I picked up a brand new board on the way through. I don't know, I wanted to buy a new board. Logan has passed away. He loved to surf. I love to surf. And I just wanted to have a new board for, I don't know, because I felt like I needed a new surfboard. So I bought something really different, and not your traditional kind of surfboard, something that's really, really quite a different board. It's called a quad, so it's got 4 fins in it and just a totally different shape. Really excited about the board. Too much detail. Let me move on. When we walked down the beach, my brother, Tim, and his 2 sons, they're aged somewhere around that sort of 7 through to 10 or 11 age mark, they were sort of saying, can we have a surf? Can we have a surf, Dad? And he had a couple of those, you know, the big fat boards that the surf lifesavers ride on their knees. They had a couple of those, but they really wanted to surf. And I said, oh, they can jump on my board. I'll take them out and I'll show them how to do some surfing. And he looked at me and said, but they're your good boards. And I said, yeah, that's okay. And he said, oh, we can't let them ride the good boards. And I said, no, you don't understand. It's okay. He said, but that one's brand new. You've only had it for 2 or 3 days. What if something happens to it? And I got to use my favorite line with my little brother. I said, Tim, people matter, things don't. The worst thing that can happen is that the board gets a ding in it. And if it does, I'll repair it. It's okay. And I just, this is something that we talk about regularly on the podcast, but it was beautiful to be able to say it and really mean it. And I know I guess in some ways it's a privileged position to be in, to be able to say, yes, if the board gets damaged, I will get it repaired. But honestly, a surfboard repair only costs like $50 or $70. It's not that expensive anyway. But to be able to say that and to really mean it, and to be able to prioritize the kids and their joy, to give the kids the experience of riding a really, really great and brand new surfboard, their eyes lit up. They couldn't believe that they were able to do it. And it was just so much fun to take them out there and let them catch those waves. Typically, historically, I've had a different view. Nobody touches the good stuff except me, because I'm the only one that knows how to use it. But it feels so much more generous. It feels so much larger to say, yeah, let's just go and have this experience together. And as I pushed one of my little nephews onto a wave that he was scared to catch, that was way too big for him, and as he rode that wave and then stood up on that wave, and the joy on his face and the fact that he couldn't stop talking about it for the next couple of days, it was so worth it. It was just so worth it. So that's kind of my I'll do better tomorrow. Stop being precious about all of this stuff, because the stuff doesn't matter. It's the experiences and the relationships and the development and the growth that matter the most.
I love the acknowledgement that you've made that it is a privileged space that you sit in when you're able to acknowledge that it doesn't actually matter. The stuff doesn't matter. I remember growing up and my mum had a commemoration plate for Princess Diana and Prince Charles's wedding.
A commemoration plate. Oh, okay. Yeah. Like the ones that you used to put on the walls or in the wall units. Yeah, I know.
And I was doing the dusting one day and I dropped it.
Oh, no.
And I was so scared to tell her because I knew that it was important to her. And it didn't always happen like this, but that particular day, my mum just kind of grabbed me into a hug and just said, you know what, it doesn't matter. It's just a plate. And I think it's a really valuable lesson that we can all learn from, recognize that the relationships in our lives are so much more important than things.
Yeah. Hearing you talk, for those who can hear the emotion in your voice, we're still just so tender, aren't we? Like we're really, there's been so much going on. I mentioned that there are two things that I wanted to share, and I just want to touch on them briefly. At a time of great loss, it's an opportunity to reevaluate your life and to pause and say, gee, have we got our priorities right? And something that we made a commitment to on our way, driving back to the Sunshine Coast from the Central Coast. I mean, we got to sit in the car for a little over 10 hours and talk and contemplate and reflect. And we made a couple of decisions that might also be a little bit inspirational for people as they reflect on how they can be better parents and build more love and more focus on the important things into their family life. So we talked about what we were going to do differently, what we'd learned as a result, and we made a couple of commitments. The first is that you have family quite close to us. So we've got your sister and her family within about 10 minutes drive, but your mum and your other sister are also only about an hour and a half away. So we've made a commitment to having a monthly family dinner with your entire family. We need to build those relationships, and it's a wonderful opportunity when you're close enough to do that. But we also have my family who are not nearby. And so we've also committed that on one weekend every single month, unless we have a family trip planned already, we're going to jump in the car and spend 2 or 3 nights somewhere else. We're going to go places where our family are. We've got family on the Gold Coast. We've got family around that Bangalow, Ballina area. We've got family down in the Yamba and Gowrie area. We've got family on the New South Wales Central Coast. Like, we've got family up and down the eastern seaboard. And we've made a commitment that we are going to invest in those relationships and invest in time away having experiences with the kids. We'll stay at cheap places like Big 4 caravan parks or something like that so that we can afford to do something like this. But we just keep on finding all the reasons not to do it, or we just don't get intentional enough about it. And the last couple of weeks, if they've taught us anything, it's that we need to be investing in our family relationships, both our immediate family but also our extended family. There is so much value in extended family relationships. So they're our commitments, and that's our I'll do better tomorrow. We really hope that there's some inspiration in there for you and your family, and that it gets you, I don't know, rethinking the way you're doing things. Maybe you'll make some commitments. Maybe you'll just keep doing what you're doing because you're actually doing it really well and you're dialed in already. But we appreciate so much you listening to our podcast today. Thank you for joining us as we navigate a tricky time in our own family. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you again on Monday. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Craig Bruce is our executive producer, and more information about making your family happier is available at happyfamilies.com.au. Oh, quickly, one more thing. Our Black Friday sales are all over the internet today. Jump onto happyfamilies.com.au or our Facebook page, Dr. Justin Coulson's Happy Families, to take advantage of Black Friday sales right now.